everyone! Today I'm going to show you a jelly print using Q-tips to make my design. I'm just going to start with, these are just some cheap dollar or less paints or around there. I get them on sale at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Just kind of making a sky color, so like a light blue and kind of a golden, I don't know, brown. Sort of looks like a ground color, and I'm going to blend the two together. And I'm going to bring that sky color down into the yellow color and just kind of make it almost like a green on the bottom, but because it's a, I don't know, like a very ochre kind of yellow, it doesn't really turn green with this blue. So then I'm going to take my Q-tip, and this is just a dry Q-tip, and I'm just going to start kind of making some bushes. I'm trying to get a horizon line going, and as the paint builds up on the Q-tip, I just spin it a little bit. You can use the other side. I have a few set next to my desk so that if there's too much paint on it, I can just grab a whole new Q-tip. You can decide if you want to remove a lot of the paint or if you want to just remove some of the paint. So I did a little bit of both. And then I took this, it's kind of like a silicone tipped brush, just to make a line. It wasn't removing the paint, it was more just spreading it, so I used my Q-tip to remove the paint. To make the top part of the tree, I'm just going to make some swirls and kind of outline where I want my tree branches and leaves to kind of flow. Just getting the idea of what I want my tree to look like, and just kind of swirling around and removing some of the paint, but you can see here it's mostly just moving the paint around but not removing it. So I'll come back in with a clean Q-tip, and then this way I can remove a little bit more of the paint, and it gives it a little more look of shadows and just a little variability. Because what I'm going to do once this layer dries is I'm going to go in with some green paint, and then that way it'll look like the leaves in the tree. So on the bottom part, the earth part, I have this crumpled up piece of paper, and I'm just kind of pressing in to get a little bit of texture on the bottom. When I removed the paper, it kind of looked like roots to me, so I thought it kind of went well with the tree here, like the tree had lots of roots going down. So I let that dry, and as it was drying, I wasn't sure if it's completely dry, so I just used this little mesh to see if I could pull up any design. It just did a little bit on the top right corner by the tree, so I knew that my paint was fairly dry at this point. So now I'm ready to just put some green coloring behind the tree. I'm just taking a light green color with that silicone brush. I'm just gonna brush over it. The only thing I would say is if you're trying this technique, the brush will leave kind of blobbier bits of paint, so try to brush those out a little so they're not quite as thick. With a brayer, you get much thinner line or layers, so this one you just have to be careful not to leave too much thick paint behind. I did pull out another green color, this way I can get a little variation. I'm sticking to the light colors at the top and then the darker colors at the bottom and kind of blending the two in the middle. And I'm just using another, again, this is just really simple, just swirling around the paint. I'm not doing anything really particular, just kind of making it look like movement in the tree and leaves. And if you're familiar with jelly printing, you'll know that first layer that I put down, that's actually going to be the front. And this paint that I'm putting on in the back here will be behind that blue and the yellow on the bottom. So next I have some brown, and I'm taking my silicone brush again, and I'm just kind of brushing the brown on. And then I noticed with the tip of this, I can create a little bit of texture. So I just kind of made it look like wood. So you just kind of go up and down, making thin lines, and then it just kind of looks like a wood trunk. I started to make some roots, but I didn't want to go too far with the roots. I wanted to leave those so that I can pull the color on top with those roots showing. Then I'll take my brown again, and now I'm going into these, I guess they're kind of like bushes for the background of this scene. And so I'm going on the bottom part with the brown to give it the shadows on the bottom. And then I'll just make it look, it's gonna either look like bushes or rocks. So you decide what you think it looks like once it's done. Here I'm just going to mix up the brown and this light green color, just making kind of a dirty looking green. I figured that this is a background, this whatever this is, the bushes or rocks, it's kind of in the background, so this kind of darker green color is going to blend more into the background. So once I'm happy with that mixed paint, I'm just going to go right over the brown paint that I had done. So some of that brown will still mix in with this kind of green brown color, but that's okay because I just wanted a little bit of variation in my colors here anyway. And then as you're going through doing these, I'm not using the swirly motions here. I'm using more of like the straighter lines. So you'll see when I pull the print how that looks different. If you're a beginner and you're trying to learn how to use the deli plate, this is a pretty easy one to just kind of play around with. You can paint to your heart's content, whatever. You could do some hearts on your gel plate. You could do some swirls if you wanted to use Q-tips, just Q-tips. If you don't have the silicone brush, start with just really simple, basic designs and work your way up as you feel comfortable. I've always been kind of nervous to make scenes on my gel plate because I feel like they would be hard. So I wanted to try something that maybe would be easier for even a beginner to do. And so that's kind of why I went with this pretty simple Q-tip design that you can really just, as long as you can make some swirly motions and kind of make something that looks like a landscape, you could easily make this kind of a print for yourself. And I think it turned out really good once I pull the print here. So this is some metallic paint. I always like adding a little metallic. It really captures the light when you have matte paints in the foreground. So this metallic coppery color on the bottom, and then it was like a metallic blue for the top. Anything that had the jelly plate still showing on the top part is going to have that little bit of blue shininess, and then on the bottom where those, what I'm calling roots, are remaining, those are going to show nice and shiny with that copper color. I do let my print dry very well. I have a little desk fan, and I put that desk fan on it to get it to dry pretty easily within a few minutes, probably like 2 to 3 minutes. So here is what this finished print looks like, and you can see it does have all this kind of motion with the paint brushes in the tree, and then in those, at first I thought they were bushes, but as I looked at it, they kind of look like rocks to me. You tell me in the comments, what do you think they look like, bushes or rocks? And then the shininess on the ground, I think that looks really cool. So this is all done again with just Q-tips to create my little dimension here, and then a little bit with this brush. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm really excited to explore a little bit more with maybe some Q-tips and this brush and to see what else I could make that looks like little scenery. Maybe like an ocean scene would be really cool, maybe with some like rocks and a lighthouse. I don't know, that sounds complicated, but it may not be if I can make it an easy one. What would you make with if you were to do Q-tips and the scenery? What would look good and kind of be simple enough to be able to create with a fat-tipped Q-tip? Although they do make those fine-tip Q-tips as well, which I don't have any of, but if you do, that might be another option. Here you can really see that shininess through the tree, and then as it goes down, the rocks, they have that shine, and even the tree trunk has that, the metallic shining through. So anyway, I thought this was a really cool print and just wanted to share something simple with you all. So hopefully you enjoyed watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying this content, and hit the like button, and I'll catch you in the next video. Happy crafting!